can't just leave. It's not you, babe. It's
Yeah.
literally the way that they want you to feel. They want you to feel that down bad, no way out type of feeling.
Yeah.
And so I do not want you to feel like your inability is who you are.
Exactly.
You know, your inability to leave is not who you are, and it doesn't make you weaker than you are.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you for
Because I
saying
think
that.
it's true, though.
No, it is so true.
Because I think it's easier to be like, oh, just get out. It's like,
It is so much more complex than that, especially if you have children involved, especially if...
hey, girly pop, welcome back to another episode of Definitely Delusional. My name is Dean.
And I'm Emily.
I'm speechless. I was going to start by being like, but I'm like, oh, girl, life is lifing. And I'm like, what the fucking?
We're in a really weird timeline right now.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah. Well, there's also, like, I'm really big into astrology. Like, I'm the kind of psychopath whenever, like, I'm talking to a guy or getting to know him, I'm like, when were you born and what time? And they're like, oh my God. I do natal charts on dates. Like, I'm that level of crazy. But there
I mean, at least you're open about it, because for me, okay, girl, I be doing research. I feel like I'm like, let me find, like, even if you tell me and I'm like, okay, let me go find out. Let me like look online. It's like, okay, these like what were they in their past life, and what were they in like the sign, like, you know, the nodes and stuff.
Oh, the north and
then,
south
like,
node and your
north
Lilith.
and south node, and then like what karma they need to get from their past life. Oh, girl.
Oh yeah, no, that I believe in that, but that's getting really deep in the rabbit hole. Like, if you need to know your full natal chart to know your north and your south node and when you were born and the time. But apparently, you know, the reason why we're feeling all of this big like upheaval right now is, I don't know if it's Saturn's in Scorpio or one of these big planets, and the concept of that is that everything that's being done in the darkness is being brought to the light. And it's all happening on this mass social level. So we're all seeing these like really intense narratives being pushed, and like things in the media and things in the news. And there's a lot going on. But
like the full moon, though, is that like what it is? Like
full
the
moon
full moon,
too.
like that's what's happening.
Yes, full moon
Or, I don't
too.
know.
But like different parts of the planets are moving in the same timeline. Like, for example, I wish I knew the exact what planet it was, but there's this certain place in our astrology wheel that the same time that this was happening around the Civil War, and the plantations are burning down, and other big social things are happening, and it's all kind of interconnected. And some people may think it's woo woo, and they're like, Emily's off her rocker. Like, the astrology isn't real, but I definitely dabble in it, and I've been, you know, connecting more to my source and asking questions and doing oracle cards, and that's kind of what's helping me navigate through this really intense emotional time.
Yeah, I mean, I also feel like, you know what it is, though? I feel like when people are like, it's not true, I'm like, okay, well, it's like literally the stars. Like, like, it's like when people are like, girl, the Big Bang, like, you know, it's like all that shit. It's like y'all are all made of atoms from that. So it's like we're studying that, and like all of it has to like deal with each other, I fear.
So I feel like what's really been unlocked with me, especially after this full moon, is I started feeling, I would say within the past few weeks, I've been feeling like deep ancestral pain, like sadness, like collective feminine grief and sadness. I've been crying a lot the past few days. Like, I feel like you believe in like your ancestors, and you believe in your spirit guides, and you know, because you have a history. Oh, thank you, honey. You're so good to me. He's fixing my hair that was in my mouth. He's so good.
A little good.
But, you know, I started thinking about all of the women who came before me, and all the things that they've endured, and all of the things in their life that they went through for me to be here. And I started thinking about, like, you know, the women that didn't have rights, and then women gaining rights, and then women losing rights, and the things that they experienced, and maybe even the choices that they never even had opened up to them. And here I am, generations later, living through this, you know, this difficult situation. And if I am to ever have children, like, that will be, you know, brought down to them. And am I going to break like ancestral patterns and curses? Like, am I going to heal? Am I going to go forward and give a better generation, or is it going to end with me? So I started thinking like that, and I started feeling a lot of feelings. Have you ever had that?
Yes, I feel like I always do have that because I'm always like I think too much, but then also like when that happens, I feel like you start taking the weight of the world onto like your shoulders, if that makes sense. Because it's like, oh, am I gonna fix this? But it's like everyone needs to collectively come together to kind of like actually, because like you could change all you want. Like for example, it's like, let's say, bad example. Let's say I was a straight man. I could be as non-homophobic as I want, but if it's not all like, you get what I mean? It's like
Mhm.
one person, you're just part of something. And I think when you think of it like you're a part of something that's changing, it makes it like less heavy. Because when you think of it like it's everything, like you have to like
Mhm.
do everything, it like overwhelms you a lot. But I do feel that because a lot of the times it's history repeating itself because, yeah.
It's patterns. Yeah.
Patterns.
It's understanding patterns. I mean, patterns are, yeah, they're very much apparent right now. Yeah. And I asked, so yesterday I felt just a lot of intense grief. Right now there is a huge court case going on with Cassie and P. Diddy and women coming forward. And, while I don't know every single aspect and detail of the case, because things are coming forward, I'm not going to comment on that. Just the overall overwhelming sentiment is, this narrative that I will preface this by saying domestic violence can happen to anyone. Women can perpetrate it on men can perpetrate it on men, women to women, man to woman. And more often than not, it is disproportionately affected in heterosexual couples as men perpetuating violence and aggression and abuse towards women. And this overwhelming narrative, because now we have social media and everybody has a podcast and everyone's an armchair expert and everyone is just everyone can state their opinion as they should, because it is the First Amendment. Whether or not I agree with your opinion, you have a right to state it. But there's this. It's almost the impossible standard of people that come forward and come forward and say they were abused. Well, why didn't you leave sooner? In the case of Cassie, and then was it Halle Bailey? Halle Bailey.
I think so.
She went to the police
really sure.
and said, very early on, I'm a victim of domestic violence. And then people are mad at her for reporting. So you're mad if you report and you're mad if you don't report.
Yeah, it's just like people will be like, oh, well, why didn't you say anything? But it's never like, why didn't we stop and see their actions, the person perpetrating the action? But also if we say anything about like the P. Diddy case or anything, it's all alleged.
Yeah.
It's all alleged. My lawyer told me to say that.
Yeah, it's all alleged.
It's all alleged.
And it's an ongoing court case.
Yeah.
There has not been a conviction. He is being tried by a jury of his peers. Evidence is being brought forward. This is an active court case. Like I cannot speculate what is or isn't going to happen. Testimonies are still being done. But I think I wanted to today discuss, this narrative of reporting and statistics and how prevalent it is in our society and why people don't report and how difficult it is to leave. I have had situations and relationships that I look back retroactively. I'm still undoing. I'm still healing through, and I'm still seeing, I'm still grappling with aspects of my past relationships, which I won't comment on specifically, but I can give some examples of things that I've experienced in generalized terms. And I will never give any names. I will never give any details. But, I think it's important, because statistically speaking, as it states right now, 1 in 3 women will be sexually assaulted in their lifetime.
Oh,
and yeah, so you look around the room, or have something happen to them that was violating in some way, shape, or form. And the narrative is, yes, like 1 in 3, that's a lot. But who is perpetrating this?
Exactly.
Who around you, your friends, gives into these narratives? Or, it's never like, I never know anybody who did it, but you always know someone who was a victim of it. So yes, you do know someone who did it.
Yeah, and here's
absolutely.
Here's my tea on that too. It's like, I think I've also been around some people who whenever I went through shit, and it's like I'm not gonna get into it in this, you know, because I don't want to hyper focus too much on the shit I went through, but
Yeah.
I needed to realize that the people, if you went to them, let's say, and you were like, oh, I was like assaulted, whatever, and they're like, oh, they don't seem like that type of person, that they're not your friend. That's
No.
exactly how they feel about you. They do not believe you, like
Yeah.
your word, and like those are not the type of people who are going to support you in like the hard times. Do you get what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying though. It's like the people's like, oh, they would never do that. When it's like,
And we don't know people
Yeah.
behind closed doors.
yeah,
When you are, you know, also I want to really drive home this narrative. This is not a narrative, it's a fact. You are more likely to be assaulted or harmed by someone you know and trust than a random person off the street grabbing you. Maybe not anymore with, you know, people dressing up as ICE agents, which I have a total theory that this is a nightmare because they're not showing identification. I mean, they can snatch anybody up off the street. Like that's a whole nother fucking nightmare in itself. But statistically speaking, as we're sitting here right now in this space, it is more likely to be someone you know or you trust or you're on a date with or you feel safe with versus just like a random person breaking in your home.
yeah.
Does that happen? Yes, absolutely. That does happen. And I'm not discrediting that. But statistics are showing that that's not what's happening. And sexual assault is the most underreported crime.
It is.
Any crime there is.
I went to, yeah. I mean, it is, and like the college I went to, like there was a lot of like cases of this and stuff like that, and it's like that's why I'm only friends with the girls because I'm gay, and so like, you know, obviously if that wasn't clear, obvious enough, and that's why I'm friends with girls, and like most of like I've really vet out the gay friends that I do have around because again, like sexual assault happens to everyone, you know, even in the gay community, but especially in hetero like sexual relationships as well. And like I think the thing is like this is when I always like recommend people, like that's why I do like what I do. And I'm like, you can't, when you overthink and you like don't have that like part of you that's like a little bit self-aware, it's even harder to leave because then you start overthinking leaving and then you stay longer in that situation. And then like that's how your brain starts, like, because your brain is so smart. And here's what I realized too, it's like I was like reading some papers, it's like your brain is so smart to the point where it's like it's trying to save you more than like because it equates like escaping as like a danger.
Well, and
right?
Sometimes it is dangerous to escape. I mean, we'll get into this later too, but statistically speaking, if you're trying to leave an abusive relationship, your risk of homicide is 75% as you are actively leaving. Like 75% of people who are killed by an intimate partner, it's when they're trying to leave. Actively, they're trying to get out, and you know, if I can't have this person, nobody else can. And it's crazy, like when people are, you know, when you look at the law and the way that manslaughter is, it's, you know, murder in the first, murder in the second. Murder in the first means that you had an intentional plan. It's like you had a plan to kill this person. It was thought out. Murder in the second degree, they would call it a crime of passion. That's how it was tried. It was like, you know, because the law is written by men
for men,
it's prosecuted, it's defended, it's given out punishments by men. Majority of police officers are men. We've created a system that isn't quite victim friendly, but they would call it crime of passion. Like, I didn't mean to accidentally strangle her. I was just so emotionally worked up it happened.
You know what?
And that's
I would argue,
you get less time.
No, I would, but bitch. You know what the fuck I would argue if I was a lawyer? Which, I mean, a lot of people were like, you should have maybe become a lawyer. I'm like, because I'm really good at arguing.
I wanted to.
I mean, I wanted to, but then I was like, fuck the schooling, and also I don't know. But I was stupid and I didn't. But I would actually say that it's crime in the first degree, murder in the first degree, because what do you mean they didn't plan it out? Yes, they did. They literally kept this person within their arm's reach every single day, intentionally keeping them, like making sure, like watching their every move, making them too scared to like leave. All of that is intentional. And all of that is planning up to the eventual. Because I feel like every single person who does commit a crime like that, they know there's going to be a day eventually, and they've prepared for the day that that person leaves and what they're going to do to them.
Well, I didn't expect to get so emotional. I didn't expect to get so emotional. No, because it's still something I work through. I have girlfriends, and I have said to them, and I actually told my mother this before. If something happens to me, there will be people that you will absolutely have to look for first. And I've reiterated that. And one of my best friends, she goes, absolutely. I would go immediately to the police and be like, I would have names. I would have people, like, I would be like, these are the people you need to look into first.
Yeah.
Because, if, you are more likely to be killed by someone you know.
Yeah.
And of
it's
course, people
crazy.
do get killed by strangers. I'm not minimizing that. And yes, women do kill men. It's just disproportionately affects men killing women. I mean, the facts are there, irrefutable facts. But I don't even know where I was going. Sorry. Okay.
It's okay.
I guess what I was saying earlier about like how this is such an underreported crime. I did my research. I love when people say that, but research. So if we're going to look at the statistics on this, because I think it's important for people to kind of know the odds and like how, actually, let's, before we get into that, I know what I was going to say earlier. I think what our society does not do well is explain what consent is. What is consent? And the fact that consent can be revocable at any time. Consent, or the narrative of, well, I was drunk and something happened. Well, if you're impaired, you're not fully consentable.
That's what, yeah.
And that's not, yeah. People use being drunk, being on substances, being at a party, I couldn't handle what she was wearing, all these things, but it's like, that is not consentable behavior.
It's not consentable behavior, and you still have to own up to every single thing you do when you're drunk. It's like the other day, I mean, okay, no, I didn't do anything crazy.
I was
no, but like I got really, really drunk, and I barely remembered like the night. But like Emily, like the next day, I immediately apologized for anything that I did. I was like, I apologize, and please let me know if I did anything to make you, and like, but that's how it should. But a lot of people are just like, they blame it and then they leave it at that. And they're like, oh, I was drunk. That's why I acted that way. I was like, no, I acted that way because I'm a shitty ass person in that moment, and I own up to it and I apologize.
I mean, I've actually had people say to me, when I reviewed their behavior the night before, and I was like, you said this and you did this, and they had the audacity to look me in the eye and say, well, I was blackout drunk and I can't really account for any of that, so I'm not gonna say I'm sorry, or I wasn't liable for anything I did or I said because I don't remember it. It's like as if I'm making this up to shame you. I know you're feeling shame right now and this is deflection, but it's like to have zero accountability for the things that you said and you did, like,
disgusting.
Which obviously that's a huge red flag. Like that's a major.
I hope I didn't say anything.
No, you didn't.
Because I would. I was like,
no. But I'm the kind of friend though. Like, if I'm the kind of friend that I will get you out of any situation. I am so focused on making sure people are safe and protecting them because the fear of something happening to my friends because I didn't do the right thing, I didn't protect them, or like I gave up my party, and it's so irresponsible, and like I would not want that to happen to me. You are so vulnerable. And
I love you for that.
I love you, but like that's how, as a woman, like I've had really crazy shit happen to me, and I was like, I was so vulnerable, and had someone not helped me, I don't know where I would be right now.
I had a lot of people in the past. That's why, like I told you, I have a lot of like not so much anymore because I can really filter like through people really fast now. But there has been a lot of times in my life where people would have done that for me, but like people would have like they've left me at parties, they've like and they would just, it was just like I was never surrounded by the people in my life that I have now that make me feel so safe.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I know that if someone, like, for example, like, if someone fucking roofied me at a bar, Emily would, like, make sure that I wasn't, like, I, like, truly believe in that. But, like, with the friends that I used to have, or, like, not, I don't want to even call them friends anymore, but, like, they wouldn't have done that. They would have probably just left.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? And, like, so I just really appreciate that.
Well, I've had that happen to me before. Like, I had a experience in my life where that did happen. And I mean, things could have ended a lot differently for me. it was very traumatic. And I still, like, so much so that after the experience, I went to a therapist and she was like, what is wrong? I'm like, I'm afraid of men. I'm afraid of people. Like, I'm afraid of what, like, not being in control feels like. Because, yeah, I mean, like, when you're at that state, you are not consentable. You are not safe. I mean, I'm not going to get into what happened, but, like, I was, like, throwing up all over myself. Like, it could have ended really bad. I could have died. I could have choked on my vomit. Like, I could have been trafficked. I could have, like, anything could have happened. And that's such a scary feeling where you're like, but why was I saved? You know, and then you get into the but why was I saved thing. So, yeah, no, I think that this is some important things that we talk about too. This is all interconnected into this, like, it's yucky. It doesn't feel good to talk about it, but, like, these things happen and these crimes are being committed because people can't consent or, yeah, I mean, like, that at the end of the day, what happens to someone when they are sexually assaulted, they are a victim of a crime, a violent, degrading crime. And that shame that they carry is not theirs to carry. It's the person who decided that they wanted to take power and agency over another person, even a violent situation. It's a power dynamic. It's not.
It's a power dynamic. It's power dynamic, but also I think, that's why I always say, and I know this is a far stretch, but that's why I always say you cannot surround yourself with friends who are always, like, playing like they're unaccountable or, like, nothing's their fault, whatever, because they most likely will probably be the ones to do something like that to you. Because if they can't take accountability for the regular shit that goes on in their life, you think they're going to take responsibility when you go to them and be like, oh, like, you assaulted me, whatever, you did this to me. Like, they're going to be like, oh, well, I was drunk. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people who don't take up accountability regularly, like, in serious situations, which, like you said earlier, it's like someone you know and, like, people you do know. It's like, those are probably more of the type of people that will like make you endure this. And I don't even like to call it like, oh, like, it's like, it's like a true man, like, males do this. I think a true man won't do this. All of these people that are doing this and, like, doing, like, sexually assaulting people and, like, not giving, like, or not knowing how to give consent, you're talking to a child who you're telling them no to a toy. They're all children that literally did not know or grow up from that mindset of, like, if they can't have it, then that means they need to take it.
Yeah. Well, I've always said, hell hath no fury like a drunken man when you tell him no. Like, the way I've seen, like, people behave when
they're rejected
or they're inconvenienced or they feel entitled to something. And I'm like, it's, like, very scary. Like, it's this, I don't know what it is. It's just a primal rage. And I'm not understanding where it's coming from. It's like, they're obviously unhealed, 100%.
Unhealed. And I think it's a responsibility of, if they did have, like, a family, I'm like, how did you raise your child to not be able to? That's why I'm like, the coddling of kids nowadays, I'm like, y'all need to be able to say no to your kid and they're not your friend. Like,
yeah.
And if they want to throw a huge ass fit, no.
I'm gonna say something that's gonna be really unpopular right now, and I don't care. Come at me. I can't fucking stand boy moms. Like, they have a son and, like, my son, he's so special. No one's ever going to be good enough for my son. My son, my son, my son. I get, you should love your child. You should absolutely unequivocally love your child with every fiber of your being. But because you have a son does not mean they need to be coddled. They do not get a carte blanche free pass to do whatever they want. They are not the center of the flipping universe.
I 100% agree with that.
They're, like, the people that have been, like, perpetrators of crimes usually have a fucked up dynamic with their mom. It's a weird mommy issue. It's codependence. It's enmeshment. It's moms putting their projection of their unmet needs on their husbands, on their sons. It's so weird. They never, not never. I don't want to say never. That's not true. But they usually mistreat the girlfriend or the daughter-in-law. Like, it's weird. Like, I don't want to be in a relationship with your mother.
Yeah, but it's like,
cut the cord.
I agree with that, and it's like, I don't even see that as, if you are a parent, mom or dad, if you loved your child, you wouldn't do that. If you truly loved your child and you truly wanted your child to grow up into a less traumatized version of an adult, because I feel like everyone has trauma.
Yeah.
If you truly love them, like you say you do, you wouldn't be showing them that the world is just rainbows, and if things like don't like go their way, then they can just go out there and like fucking grab it and like shit like that, and like, you know, not take fucking consideration on people's like feelings or like, and like them like, you know, because it's like
It's entitlement 101.
Entitlement 101. And it's like, there's no man that thinks you're uglier than a man you just said no to.
Oh my God. How
No,
quick.
no, the 180. No, the
Quickly.
180, because a man would like literally, this happened to me 3 days ago. This man hits me up being like, oh my God, hey, like you're so sexy, you're so hot. And I'm like, oh, thanks. I was like, but I'm headed home, because it was like, I was in like Hollywood.
Yeah.
And he was like, I was like, I gotta drive back home now. He's like, you know what? Fuck you. You're ugly anyway. Like, I didn't want to hook up with you anyway. Okay, first of all, how did you get into that? But then also, it's like, I didn't even like fully reject him. I was just like I gotta go home now, because like,
Yeah.
but like he saw it as like, oh, I was not interested, and I was like not, willing to come over. But then it's like, imagine had I was just like, no, I'd have been.
Well, yeah. I mean, that also plays into like two parts with that. First part, if he treated you like this, just having like a boundary over a text message, imagine how he would have treated you and your body behind closed doors. I mean, the degradation. I also, this is very difficult to say out loud, but I have had before, when I'm having like sex with a guy, I feel like a hole. I'm just I not currently, but like in the past, you feel dissociated. You feel empty. Like you just know that they don't even see you as a person. Like,
that's why
it's the worst feeling in the world. It is so dehumanizing, and like I'm so happy that you had a boundary, because I wouldn't want to know what this person could have done to you behind closed doors. Absolutely not.
But it took time. And no, it took time to develop, and that's why like when people like are kind of just like, oh, Dean, just have that fun, whatever. But it's like, I've done the whole like hookup culture thing in LA, and like just in my like, in like the gay community, whatever. And I can't speak for like you or like the straight like sex thing, but like I feel like it's very sexualized in the gay community, where it's like you just hook up with someone, you just like feel like an object. And I just felt so empty, and I was just so unhappy with myself. And in the past, I wouldn't have set that boundary, and so like I really had to take into like account like, okay, why am I going out every weekend to like numb out? And like, why am I doing all these things to numb out? Why am I always angry all the time? Why am I not like, I just feel like a shell of a person. And like, I'm just allowing all these people to like,
yeah, use my
body, or like cross a boundary, and, with or without consent. And like, there's a situation in like the beginning of college. I don't even want to get into it, because it's like, I told you about it a little bit. But there are some things that, bitches have to keep private and personal.
Yeah.
For our close friends only. But yeah, no, I think it's a scary, time to be alive and not like a straight white male.
Yeah.
And also, the straight white males that fucking hate women, you're gay. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, that's like, that's what I learned, is how I think my dad actually sat me down. He told me this years ago, and it stuck with me. And he's like, Emily, I love you, but I just want to tell you something right now. You are a second-class citizen. And my dad always raised me, like he raised me to be an independent woman. Like, the lights are on in this home because of me. I work multiple jobs. Like, I hustle because that's how I can survive. But he's like, the world was not built with you in mind. The world was not built for you to succeed. The game is rigged against you. But I want you to know that I'm proud of you. And he's like, and not everyone may see you as their equal, but I want you to know that you're one of the most excellent people I've ever met. And like, I love my dad. I love my mom. And, for him to say that, not only that he's proud of me, but for him to be like, the society is not fair. And as, this whole week has just been a lot for me, realizing like, holy shit, like there are people in this country who do not view me as a woman, as an autonomous being that is worthy of rights, that is worthy of this platform to speak on things, that I shouldn't get educated, that I shouldn't, that all I have to do is, sit at home barefoot, pregnant in a kitchen under the thumb of a man, not have my own money and not have my own resources, not have a community, and just be subservient. And that will never be me ever.
And that's been going on since the dawn of time.
It's power.
Dawn of fucking time.
I don't understand this. Well, it's a patriarchy. Like, number one, we are built in a pyramid scheme of a society with, men at the top and then everyone else underneath. And, it's sad because this is also propped up by women, the pick-me girls. I don't fuck with the pick-me girls. It is conditioning. I will say that I think, especially if you're a white woman, this whole like centering men has been shoved down your throat since you were born. Like, you need to stand adjacent to the patriarchy, you being chosen, you being the girl, like, that they want, or I only hang out with the boys, I don't understand women, I don't like girls. This narrative that like women are jealous and competitive and pitted against each other. It's because society is pitting against us against each other.
And the people usually saying that are the people who do that.
Yeah. Well, men benefit from pitting women against each other because women very much exist in a communal society. Really, like elephants raise their children communally. There's a lot of indigenous communities where it is matriarch focused, and children were all raised to be co-creators. Like, when you truly live in a system where you are somebody's child, everyone is somebody's child, and everyone came from a mother, and we all love each other equally, and we live in this cohabitated, beautiful circle instead of a triangle. I think everyone would be happier, and you're free to express your emotions and to go through your feelings and not have to suppress them, which comes out as anger. I think we'd be a more healthy and healed society. But unfortunately,
I mean, if we started earlier, we might not even see it in our lifetime, because I'm like, it takes, there's billions of people, it's like, it'll take so long, but it's like, if people actually started and wanted to like make that change, but I think that like, you can tell when people are talking if they're a girl's girl, or a gay's girl, or a girl's gay.
Oh yes.
I don't even know how to, anyway, all of them. But it's like, you can tell when people like are against what you always see them part of. It's like, it's weird for me because it's like, I can tell and I can see it from like an outsider's perspective, but because I'm not a woman, like, I can't really like relate to the struggle part of it. Yeah. And I still like acknowledge like my power a little bit as like being a male, but then I'm also gay. So then I'm like,
so you're like, really?
I'm like, okay, I don't really. And I'm also a person of color, so I'm like, fuck. So I'm like, oh, fuck. So I'm like, I guess I could kind of relate a little bit, but I like will never say like I know exactly how people feel, because you never do. You can only like empathize. But I know that like every single time that I complain about something, if I'm like, oh my God, all these people were being so like, they're just like, I don't fuck with them because they're jealous or like they're competitive. Baby, look inward a little bit. Because no, if you really think about it, it's like one of those girls that you were talking about, right? The pick me girls. If they're like, oh, like all these like women just like are so cutthroat, like they're so against me, whatever. Okay, let me see your behaviors. You probably are doing that. And that's why you're attracting and also having people be competitive with you.
It's hard.
Because there's no finish without someone starting something. But
yeah, I know. Is it like that in gay culture too? Like the competitiveness, the cattiness.
Oh, it's even worse, girl.
No.
It's like there's this video, this like influencer that was like so talking about this, and I was like laughing because it's like one gay will have a party, right? Like a really nice party in like a bar, let's say. And then next birthday, it'll be at like a Hills party. And then the next birthday, another gay is gonna have it on an island in Europe somewhere in the in the Maldives. And then finally, like, I'm surprised we haven't like gone to the moon yet. And I'm like,
the moon birthday party.
I'm like, listen, that's literally how competitive it is. And I just had to like really stop myself. I'm like, because I think when you do see that competition, you start like comparing yourself, right? But I think that comparison can be good if you're comparing yourself to the right people.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think a lot of times we compare ourselves to the people that we don't even want to be. And that's why we're so like sad, because like you'll never be them because that's not what you even fucking value.
Yeah.
And so it's like a lot of times like in the gay community, it's like people are comparing themselves to like people who don't want a relationship, like always want to hook up, and that's not their values. And I'm not shaming those people because, you know, it's your life, live your life. I never judge anyone based like how they want to live their life unless, you know, you support the orange. But anyway, that's why I'm like, you can't expect yourself to like, oh my God, I'm not this enough, I'm not that enough, I'm not pretty enough to, I'm not like wealthy enough. Okay, but you're comparing yourself to these type of people versus if you compared yourself to another wealthy, let's say, person with your values who is an entrepreneur, who's more aligned with your values. And I'm just talking for like maybe my values, right? It's like someone who's ambitious, whatever. And I'm comparing myself with someone who's like wealthy and ambitious and like entrepreneurial and like really just matches my energy and vibe and like calmness. I would compare, like my brain would be like, oh, like, wow, I love that ambition. And the comparison leads to, I want to work harder to like be able to also do something like them.
Mm-hmm.
And that pushes you to like want to strive for more. And I think like comparison, yes, I've like said in the past, comparison is like the thief of joy. But I think like I had to like adapt my mind a little bit and be a little bit more flexible too, being like, no, I think it's human nature to compare, right? Like survival. But I think you can choose what you compare yourself to.
Yeah. Well, I think also, you know, the reason why this whole comparison thing and also being upset that you are not where you think that you should have been. And then I think that whole concept is tying back now into society where women, by and large, have been given a chance these past 30 years to get educations, to succeed, to be financially independent. I mean, you couldn't have a credit card in your own name until the 70s. I mean, you had no financial way out until the 70s. And there are some politicians on Capitol Hill that want to make it so that you need your husband's signature or your father's signature. That I couldn't have any assets in my own name because I'm unmarried. Like there are people who fall into this like this theocracy level of thinking of like, you know, the religion. Yeah. So it's like the idea that man's at the top, woman's at the bottom, children, and then God obviously is above them. But like it is a hierarchy, and you cannot survive without like your husband. And you know, I really, really, really want to drive this point home. There is this push, it's alt-right pipeline thinking of like trad wives, or I don't want my woman to work, or soft femininity, or it would be much better, you know, if I was not doing anything, lounging at the pool all day, but not talking about. That is dangerous because now you're giving somebody executive power over you in every way, shape, and form. And if you are in a situation where someone has that much power over you and you have no financial resources to get out, and you may or may not have children, it is going to be very difficult to leave a situation if it becomes physical, if there is violence in any way, shape, or form. And there are so many things that can be red flags of abusive behavior, but spotting them early on is important. And I will tell this to every person that is listening on this podcast right now. Before you even enter a relationship, I want you to set aside money in an account. This is your private personal account. Assuming we can still have bank accounts, you know, as women, assuming that we're still allowed to have
It's okay. If you can't, you can have one under mine.
Yeah.
You can have a private account.
You need to put, and then the economy is shit right now. I know that this is a very privileged, nuanced stance. But if you can, and especially younger girls, if we're any young women are listening to this, even young men too, you need to have an emergency fund. And that includes, in addition to like, you know, how you would pay your rent, you know, if you went unemployed, I want you to think very hard and say, if I am in a situation that no longer serves me, that is dangerous to my physical well-being, my mental well-being, my spiritual well-being, that I have a way out. And that is your insurance policy, that you can leave, you know, God forbid, in the middle of the night if you need to take your children. And I know it's easier said than done, but that's establishing some sort of financial independence in some way, shape, or form, irrespective of the relationship that you're in.
Yeah. And this, like, you're talking about before you get into a relationship too. Mm-hmm. And so before you even get in, and also if they're not okay with you having your personal bank account, if they're not okay with
Red
that,
flag.
that's already your sign to get the fuck out of there right now. Get the fuck out. Because if they are not comfortable with you having your own, girl, you already know that
Yeah.
shit's about to hit the fan.
Well, yeah, it's control. I mean, surveillance, that's a huge red flag for me. That, and also if you're feeling as though you're being isolated from your friends, your family, huge red flag.
But I will say something, it does get harder as you get more into it because people in your life, they can keep on telling you to leave situations, and when you don't leave, it's hard for people to see you doing this to yourself because they love you so much, right? But I will also say it gets harder because your brain starts to feel like, oh, maybe this is normal. Like, maybe this is like, I don't need any of my, like, maybe this is normal.
Yeah.
And then that's how people get like stuck in it. And then they're like, they start believing in the shitty shit that like the person in the relationship they're in says, you know? And
it's a cycle. It's the wheel of power. It's a cycle of abuse.
Wheel of power. And
wheel
like,
of power.
Yes, have your joint bank account. Great. Love that. Whatever. Have it. But have your own personal bank account. And if they don't allow it, leave, girl. And that's why every time I always joke about this, and y'all know this, I always joke, I'm like, oh, like, you know, sugar daddy this, sugar daddy that, glucose guardian this. And it comes from a place of like a lightheartedness thing, but I just genuinely don't think like I will ever really like allow someone's, and you know this about me, Emily knows, because she's like, we're like close in real life. Like, I will never ever allow someone, their finances, to have control over me, because I will never allow someone to have that much control over me ever again, and being able to like affect me like that ever.
Yeah. And that's being acutely aware of power imbalances in a relationship. And this goes with age. If you are a young woman and you have men 10, 15, 20 years older than you pursuing you, know that that's not normal. Know that that's not normal behavior. That's predatory behavior. And I've even said I feel weird thinking like a 24-year-old's cute. I'm like, okay, that's the power dynamic. That's weird. Like it creates systems where you're not even on the same level socially. You're not even, your brain doesn't stop developing until you're like 25. Your prefrontal cortex is, not developed. For all intents and purposes, you are a child who has not had lived experiences. And now you are being led by someone who's significantly older than you under the guise that they're caring for you. That's going to be a hard relationship to leave.
Well, yes. However, I will say though, too, it's like, but we're not shaming people. Like, I'm not shaming people who, because, girl, I think because of, you have to base it on your own personal journey, right? It's like, for me, the reason why I get along with people who are older than me, who are like 5-10 years older than me, I don't think I could do beyond that, for me personally. It's because of the shit I've went through mentally that has like made me mature faster. That's why I'm able to like connect with them, but also realize if, anyone ever tried anything with me with like the whole power thing, I'd be like, you're funny. You're really funny. Like, that's literally not going to happen. But I think, again, most of the time it is like not normal. It's like predatory, but it's like, obviously, like if you find someone you really like, you both really love each other, and not under the disguise of like, oh, like because he's paying for everything, or like he's promising you all this like life. But it's like oh God, it's a weird thing. It's hard to talk about because it's like, I don't want people to like be discouraged of love if it's there with like some like whoever it is, like older.
I just worry about grooming. That's what I worry about, is that I could not, as an adult, say that I would love a kid or someone barely. No, they are kids. I mean, they're kids. They're like, they look like babies. They're going to college. I could not sit there as a 31-year-old woman and be like, I'm in love with an 18-year-old boy. He's a boy.
18 is okay.
No, but like, but the thing is, if you're okay with 18 and they drop the age of consent or everything to 17, would you be okay with 17? If they dropped it to 16, would you be okay with 16? And that's where this water is murky. It's like, no, I get weirded out when I see like middle-aged men wanting young women. It's because it's control. It's also control. It's control. And they don't like women my age because we're like, fuck off.
But you could also
they don't like mouthy bitches. And that's
But you can also tell, though, it's so weird. I don't know if you could feel it, but
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all tell us if you can also, because there are like some people that I could tell that they have like something like, that needs fixing a little bit up here, because you can tell when it's like they want the person that just looks like super young and they want them to. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, honey,
Well,
like,
I've had, encounters with men when I was in my early to mid 20s, and they were 50, and it was going to be like, I'm just talking to them. I'm like, oh, do you have any kids? Like, yeah, I have a daughter. She's your age. I'm like, you would have a sexual relations with someone who's the same age as your daughter. Okay. But that's like fucking Trump said if Ivana, or who's the girl? Ivanka wasn't his daughter, he would try to date her. If
oh
my
God,
father ever said that, first of all, I'm gonna throw up in my mouth. Like,
yeah, ew,
I would
what the
I
fuck?
would never speak to him. I would have the biggest like vomit reaction. That is so disgusting. Like, don't even get me started on incest. I've in my line of work, I've seen children that were products of it. They're not okay. Like, let's just
That
hard
brings
stop.
me. That
Hard
brings
stop.
me. That brings me to the how, if y'all want to understand this, and if you're like a hating ass bitch listening right now, which I doubt it, because I love you all and I know that like the girly pops are here.
Mm.
But if you're on the other side of it and you're wondering how women, queer folk, whatever, feel about y'all taking away our rights, I just want you to imagine if we banned incest. Ooh. If we banned incest, that's literally probably you would understand how we were feeling.
Well, incest is illegal. It is actually illegal.
I mean, not. I feel like it's not though. Why is it happening?
Well, a lot of things happen. So that is sexual assault. It is sexual assault. And
That's not talked about again.
it is, and that it's shameful. And once again, it's power dynamics. And okay, so we're gonna full circle on this. We're talking about domestic violence. We're talking about sexual assault. So statistically speaking, and this kind of carries that whole shame pipeline of why people report and why people don't report. So so say we have a big pool of people who have been sexually assaulted, men, women, transgender, everybody, out of this pool of people, okay, let's say this, only 1 in 3 assaults are reported, meaning 2/3 of those are unreported. They never go to the police. They don't get forensic exams. And that could be for a million and 5 reasons. It could be they're afraid. They are threatened by the person who's assaulting them. They are ashamed. They are scared. They think no one will believe them. And also, I'm going to tell you this right now. Sometimes reporting is just as traumatizing as the event itself. Because a lot of times, and I'm not trying to say fuck the police, but also not only that you have to relive it. A lot of times, police officers also are people who are abusers. It is estimated that up to 40% of people in law enforcement families experience domestic violence. So the people that are supposed to serve and protect you might not believe you. They might try to talk you out of it. They may try to minimize it. They may say that this isn't worth pursuing. But I will also, if no one takes anything out of this podcast, not the 2 things: you are a victim of a crime, and what happened to you is not your fault. Not before, not during, not after. You are a victim of a crime, full stop.
Yeah.
But second, if you are a victim of a crime and you want to report, you need to immediately go to the hospital and do not shower. Do not shower. I know you're going to want to. You're going to probably feel shame and disgust, and every single emotion that you're feeling is valid because what happened to you was violating. Do not shower. Go to your hospital. Say you were a victim of sexual assault, and a forensic nurse will come. And for women, it could be a traumatizing negative pelvic exam. I'm never going to say that it's not, because those are very violating as well. And for men, you as well. We have to do a full once over. Your body will be photographed for evidence. They will take DNA swabs. All these things. They will put you on like anti-HIV medication, because if you don't know the status of the person that assaulted you, we never know. They'll do a whole panel you'll have to come back and do a panel for STIs because those take a couple weeks to show up. But that process going forward, you're going to get the rape kits, and then those will be sent off for processing, which those can be backlogged to in a system, which is, I won't even get into that. But, only 1 out of 3 this even gets reported. There, of the 1/3 that are reported, I believe it is, what is it? Only 7% actually make it to trial.
Yeah, I mean,
7%.
There's just, I think it's also like, again, like you said earlier, like the system does not make it easy, right? They don't make it easy, but also I think that even though we're talking about the statistics of like people not reporting and stuff, we're in no way shaming on the way that you are healing. The way that you, if you don't want to report it, but you are dealing with it in your own ways and you have your own support system, by all means. The numbers, yes, we see them, but we hope you see yourself more.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like, and I think that, yes, sometimes like at the end of the day, we're like, oh, only 1 in 3 people report it, but it's like, okay. And now let's go to the even deeper root of the problem.
Why is this happening?
Why are we more, like you said earlier, why the fuck are we more concerned about, oh my God, 1/3 of the people reported and this many amount of people didn't report? What about we just focus on... but that's what I'm not saying you're shaming.
I know.
No, but I'm saying like the world, it's like, okay, y'all are so focused on like the aftermath. Why didn't this... Girl, let's go to the root of the problem.
Well, and then also
the root of the fucking problem.
Narrative that I want to completely dispel is that women make false reports. Have there been women that have made false reports? Sure. But the large majority is this is an underreported crime, and it's happening more often than you think. And to throw the baby out with the bathwater and say, well, because one woman made a false report, like all women are not shouldn't be believed.
It's like black and white thinking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like one thing. It's like,
I hate that.
Y'all are catastrophizing it because it's like, you think that, oh, it's like the thinking where it's like, oh, you have one thing and you're like, oh, everyone's like that. And it's like, you're just like exaggerating that one thing when it's like, girl, the other shit still happens. And we cannot discount people's feelings. You know? And like,
yeah. And also, I think what becomes acutely traumatizing as well to victims of this crime is, if you even make it to the trial portion, a defense attorney is going to cross-examine you and they are going to poke holes and break you down.
Yeah.
I had a girlfriend, and I have never felt more viscerally angry in my life than, she made it to the trial portion and there was a conviction. And this person was actually, he was a multiple time offender. They found out that this was a pattern of behavior from him. So I don't remember exactly what the outcome was, but like he was found guilty and, he was sentenced or whatever. But the defense attorney, on behalf of the man, accused of sexually assaulting her, he would not call my friend by her correct name. The most dehumanizing thing you can do. And he did that not because he forgot her name, but that is such a tactic that they were
to make you annoyed,
you down,
and, like, to first get you like agitated, which then opens your like guard, and then like opens you more like easily to be attacked.
Yeah, or say something
wrong,
to
be snarky back, and then it makes like the jury mistrust you.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? It's like it's all these tactics to like silence you even further, and so it fucks me up because I'm like, the fact that shit needs to even get to that point. Do you get what I mean? And like a lot of times, again, like I don't even think there are that many but like I did see on TikTok this other day that I think you've probably seen it. Like this girl who was getting I think abused by like Evan. I think his name is Evan. You probably heard of the Evan case, Evan Johnson.
I know Brock Turner case. I know that one quite well.
I'll like maybe send it to you later. But like basically, Evan Johnson, like they were on trial. Like he was accused of like beating her or whatever, and like there was a whole social media thing because I'm on it more than you, obviously. It's like, but I'll send it to you later. It was actually like quite interesting, but I was so fucking happy. I like the video came up on my FYP today, and she was like, fuck yeah, he's in jail. Like, and she came out the court the trial. I was like, holy shit.
Well, going back to like, if you are convicted, a lot of times like they don't really put you in jail. Like what, 16% get a prison sentence, or could they go in jail, or they go to jail but they're released on good behavior. Like this whole system is completely and totally fucked. But I hope he stays in there for a long time, because it's clear that this man had done damage to this woman. And
I mean, knowing our
shot
world,
Nancy. Yeah.
knowing
Yeah.
our world, he'll like, well, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, people knowingly elected a sexual predator as the president of the United States. And I don't want to hear that a false rape allegation destroys a man's life. We have a freaking sexual predator as president, period, full stop.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear men
And
cry.
also, if you really didn't have those, like, if you really didn't do what you were being alleged of, you wouldn't get so defensive.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about it that way? Do you get what I mean? Because nothing triggers me more than something I haven't dealt with.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? And so it's like the reason why people get so fucking defensive when you're like, oh, you're a predator or whatever. And they get so defensive, girl, because you did it.
I've, if someone throws an allegation at me and I know it's not true, I go, I'm not giving into it energetically anymore. I'm not getting angry. I'm just like, I've cut off all contact. Like, no. If I know that it's not true, I'm like, I know that that's not true, but you no longer have access to me energetically.
That's literally how I apply it in my life. It's like everything. It's like, I don't care. It's like people would be like, oh, you know what? Like, I'm like, girl, go ahead. Literally fabricate these stories, like talk shit about me. I know that people in my life, if they ever heard it, they wouldn't care. So I'm not going to be unloved by the people who actually love me. I'm like, but if people believe that, and that's just who they are, and like they don't know me as a core, and like, and these are the things that that are just alleged and not true. But if you come to me and it's something I did, girl, I'll admit to it. I'll admit to it.
Yeah, sorry. Say you're sorry.
I'm sorry.
Say you're sorry. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy though, and these things are difficult, and it's healing is not linear, and these leaving a relationship that is abusive is difficult. It can sometimes take many tries.
I've had so many people in the comments too
it
tell
takes
me
about
like
7 tries to get out.
There are like so many. They were in relationships for so long. And like, girly pop, if you're listening to this and you have gone out, I'm proud of you. That's number one. But if you're going through it, know that I'm here for you and we're here for you. And like, I really just like want to bring it to a point where it's like, yes, like, I make videos like every day and like we talk about this, and like it's not easy, and I don't want you to shame yourself for, why am I so this way, that way? I can't just leave. It's not you, babe. It's literally the way that they want you to feel. They want you to feel that down bad, no way out type of feeling.
Yeah.
And so I do not want you to feel like your inability is who you are.
Exactly.
Your inability to leave is not who you are, and it doesn't make you weaker than you are.
Thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that.
I think it's true, though.
No, it is so true.
Because I think it's easier to be like, oh, just get out. It's like,
it is so much more complex than that, especially if you have children involved, especially if you do not have your own source of income, if you don't have a car, if you have a disability, it's harder. Like, there are so many factors that go into why people don't leave or don't report, or it takes them 7, 8, 9 times to leave. Like, it is so much more, and there will be things happening behind closed doors that we are not even aware of. I try to have the utmost empathy because, I've been in situations that were not fantastic, and it did take me a long time to leave. And I have shame about some things, or like why I froze, or why I didn't fight back, or why I didn't leave earlier, or why I didn't put a boundary, or why I didn't say no, and why saying yes was easier than saying no. Like,
because that's just hard.
And I blamed myself. Like, I was so, there was days that I still blame myself. But I know, like,
those days, I hope, I'm here.
I know, baby. I love you, baby.
I love you.
I know. And it's important that if you are in a relationship that, there's controlling aspects, or coercion, or an imbalanced power dynamic, like, isolation will be the worst thing for you. And even having 1 or 2 safe people and creating a safety plan for yourself, and having that emergency fund, and thinking of like, how can I get out? How can I get out safely? Is there a point of contact? Is there a place that I can go? And like, coming up with these ideas even early on, or even having safe family members. And I know not everyone comes from a loving, secure, safe family, and that's even a privilege in itself. But whether it's like chosen family or distant family or somebody be like, listen, if I can call you in the middle of the night, like this person is like your safe contact, and like maybe it's a code word, maybe you're in such a situation where you are living so trapped that you have to speak in code, but like come up with something early on. And if you feel like there's someone you could be safe with and be like, listen, if I, whether that is what it is, like these wheels can be in motion. And I hate that we even have to think like this, because that's like love should not feel this way.
But
But
we were taught like love is supposed to be dangerous.
love is work. Love is struggle. Marriages are struggle. Like, you know, the trope of like all relationships are work. Yes, you will always be working dynamically with somebody that you're with. That's given a
But
friendship.
not when your livelihood is fucking,
No,
you know,
your
it's
safety
like,
and your physical being.
it's like
It
that's
should not.
the fact
No.
that we've gotten to the point where it's like I saw videos, and which I mean they're great resources, but like, and like look them up, you know, maybe like these are the tactics, you know, like just
Yeah.
you're okay that like you need a time to figure it out, because it's like, girl, this shit is hard as fuck. But it's
Yeah.
like, I saw the video where it's like someone was like calling for help, but using it as when they finally got a chance, because let's say their abusive person that they're with, right, wanted pizza.
Yeah, I think that was I don't know if it was from a show or something, but
It was
you know,
like pizza, and then they were like, oh, if they're doing this to you, say you want, if ask for extra cheese or like
yeah,
sauce or like, you
yeah,
know, um whatever the time, or like what else would you like with that,
yeah,
or say like garlic bread, you know, or
something.
like ask um if there's extra, to add extra sauce, extra barbecue sauce, or like whatever, like stuff
Yeah.
like that, if you're dealing with this. And I just think that's so smart, and like maybe that's like a strategy that people do deploy to try to get out of a situation like that. But I will say one thing, where it's like, because I watch so much true crime shows, always stay on the phone as long as you can, so they can always triangulate the call.
Yes, stay.
The longer you are on a phone call, the more they're able to triangulate you.
Yeah, yeah, and this is hard, and I'm not an expert on
Me neither.
this. This is our just lived experience, and us being, you know, Earthside for the amount of years that we have and the experiences that we have. And you're so right. Like, do what you can to stay alive. And unfortunately, sometimes staying in these abusive relationships is your survival mode, what is keeping you alive. And the fact that that even has to exist is also so sad. But, you know, you are believed. You will find people who will believe you, and the people that will not believe you are just, they're not meant to be in your life for a reason. And, you know, what I've learned in my life is that everybody has the potential to do something that they say they would never do.
Yep.
Everybody has the potential to get in a toxic relationship, or, you know, or be abused or be an abuser. But it's, what are you doing in between to ensure that you are not doing that? Or, you know, whether that's going to therapy or fixing your childhood trigger wounds, or, you know, if you have like anger, figuring out where that's coming from, that unmet need that you had as a child, as an adult, or the feelings that you're having underneath, dealing with those, and then taking that into and rechanneling it into something positive. I think, you know, most people have the ability to do that if they're just more self-actualized.
Yeah, but
And
I
some
think
people don't. Like, some people have straight up sociopathy. And I'm
yes,
like,
but then I think it's also like, it's hard because it's, you know,
mm,
I think a lot of times too, it's like, for me personally, and like maybe my earlier followers may know that. No, I don't ever know. But like a lot of the people that I used to go to, like, you know, that have known me for a longer time, have known that, like, you know, because of like this shit and like I've went through, like, if you're not gonna deal with, like, if you don't go like and don't have the resources to get help, it may start manifesting in other parts of your life. And I just don't want that for y'all or anyone to go through, because for me, I developed like a horrible like relationship with my body. I already had a bad relationship with my body, but then I developed an even worse one, and like a severe eating, like in the beginning of, like, you know, because you know what happened to me.
yeah,
Because I felt so gross in my body. I didn't want anyone to look at me. I didn't want anyone. So that's why it's like, so things may not seem like
control.
you think that, but yeah, you know, it's like you think that, oh, see, I just like, you know, I'm a fucked up human. It's like, there's nothing that can go wrong. But it's like, you're doing that because you're trying to compensate for the fact that you didn't deal with that situation. And that made you so fucking gross in your own skin that this is the only way you know how to survive.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's trauma. Trauma manifests in the body in a lot of ways. And I think that was a trauma.
And then that
response.
control, because you never had that control. So like it makes you feel like you're in control or like
Yeah.
whatever. And it's like,
And it's also hard. Many times people fall into cycles of abuse because that's all they know. All they've ever been modeled in relationships is chaos and struggle and violence and, you know, parents arguing or becoming physical and then reuniting. So that idea of a relationship that was modeled at a young age is one that is rooted
is
in
love.
Yeah, and you will actively seek patterns that your brain recognizes.
And that's why I had to break it. That's why I had to break
You
ever
had
feeling the
to.
spark. Like whenever I feel the spark, I run the opposite way. No. Seriously.
True,
No,
true.
seriously, because I used to fall in love with people who treated me like shit, and I called that love because that's how I was like I would get abused, and then they would be like, oh, it's because I love you. And it's like that's why Rupi Kaur wrote that poem. She's like,
Yeah.
if you yell at your daughter and tell her it's because you love her, she's gonna grow up like looking for men who abuse her.
Yeah, because that's all she knows.
Because that like she's gonna grow up thinking that that's love.
Yeah.
And like it's literally everything. It's like you will get the love and support that you think you deserve.
Yeah. Isn't use the personal wallflower that we accept the love we think we deserve?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that, yeah.
And when you're so used to not getting that love and you keep on getting reinforced by anyone in your life, abuser, friend, not even a friend actually, an enemy, or like, your childhood, whatever. If you keep on getting reinforced that you don't deserve love, you will go seek out love that shows you that you aren't worthy of it.
Mm-hmm. It mirrors you back.
It mirrors everything. Fucking will mirror you back.
Isn't that crazy? Relationships are a mirror onto yourself.
Yeah. How you feel about yourself.
Yeah. And also, if you are in an abusive relationship, like that doesn't define who you are. It doesn't. And it doesn't mean that you're inherently unworthy of a safe connection. But breaking that cycle and loving yourself and giving yourself that love that you are not receiving is one of the first steps, and realizing that this trauma, while it might have happened to you, it's not your shame to carry.
Yeah,
it's not your shame to carry.
It's not your shame to carry, but obviously, like, yes, like, go through it. But also, it's like, you don't have to love yourself 100% in order for other people to actually, like, truly love you in the way that you deserve to be loved. You get what I mean? Because sometimes, like, if you've dealt with, like, all this abuse and shit, like, there's no way that you would know how to love yourself 100,000%, but at least try a little bit.
Yeah.
Try a little bit so that you let that sliver of light or, like, the people in your life in that can show you and, like, can show you that you are deserving of, like, a normal, healthy thing. And I'm not saying, like, you have to go through, like, an abusive relationship to, like, learn, but, like,
we hope you don't.
Yeah,
we hope you don't.
We hope you fucking stay so innocent. I really wish. I was like, ignorance is bliss. Like, in love-wise, not, like, politics. But like, anyway, yeah, like, just the love. It's just, relationships are so complicated. And I just, like, I don't know. I live my life where it's like, yes, I've been scarred by things and burned by love, but I never will get harsh because of how harsh the world has been to me. And I think that will keep me from becoming an abuser, from me becoming a victim of abuse. Do you know what I mean? It's like when I do not allow the horribleness and the abusiveness and the whatever of the world affect who I am core that of my softness, I think that I just know that my life will be like, it's going in the right trajectory, because had I not gone through the shit I went through and had I just suppressed it all, girl, I think I'd be a shitty ass person today. I really do think I would.
Yeah. And I love that you said, like, about being soft, because I recently had an experience, and I know we talked about it, where it was, I don't even know how to even phrase this, because I want to make sure, like, everything stays confidential, but I recently had an experience with somebody where it was the first time that I felt safe. Like, my entire mind, body, soul felt safe, and I started crying. Like I told you, like, I'm start crying right now. Like that, when you go through things and relationships, and you take, when you look back in your life and you find, even if it's like a friendship or things are, relationships or whatever it is, when you find that safety and you feel like you can exhale, you'll know that those are the things going forward that you need to find, and that you are inherently deserving of safe connections with people that will keep your body safe, that respect you, that make you feel seen and whole, and that it is out there and there are people out there. And, just because you've had a traumatic situation in the past doesn't mean that you won't find someone who will love every single part of you. And I'm loving that, like with Cassie's husband, Alex, where he's like, I didn't save her. She saved herself, but I love her. Despite all of this, it makes me love her more. And he was able to, when he said that publicly, he's like, I don't feel less of a man than being with her. Like, she completes me, despite all of this, she's one of the strongest people I've ever met in my whole life. Why would I not be honored to be with her? And I was like, oh, like, thank you. But I mean, it's kind of, I don't want to say it's a bare minimum, but the bar is set so low.
I know,
The bar is set so
I was
low.
like, just listening to that, I was like, what the fuck?
But yeah, everyone's like, oh, he's such a good guy. I'm like, that's, your partner should do that. Like, that's
Yeah,
full
but
stop.
I think
But I am gonna give him kudos. Like,
just being a fucking normal human being, it's like,
the bar's set now.
like, I think that's why, even like when Emily was telling me, and I think because I had the same occurrence like way back, like a few years ago, but it's like when it first happened, you're like, I'm crazy for crying, or like, this is weird. Like, why is this so weird? And I kept on trying to reassure Emily, like, baby girl, it's the universe. Finally, you've been going through so much, and then like the universe is telling you, girl, this is the type of love, and this is the type of security, this is the type of calmness that someone who actually gives a fuck about your well-being will act like. You get what I mean? And it's like
Revolutionary.
It's like epiphany.
I had an epiphany. But yeah, so this was long. Thank you guys for sitting with us. This is about 75 minutes long, but I'm glad that we talked.
Is it?
It is. And I know this was long format, and this was very, very, it should have come with a trigger warning, so I do apologize about that from the beginning. We didn't put a trigger warning on it. Maybe we will in the comments, but
yeah, I'll put it in the description.
Yeah, I hope anyone out there, whether it's, safety planning or statistics, or, like what to do if you're a victim of a crime, or even emotional, saying like, I feel validated. I feel seen. Like, I want you to know that this is a safe space for you guys too. And that, you're not alone in your struggles. Like,
that, like, I'm always a safe space. My whole platform has been about a safe space. And
yeah.
Some of y'all have reached out to me like in my DMs, which make me so happy and that's why I do what I do. I'm like, there are people who like, I've gotten out of a relationship with someone who was like a narcissist before because of your content. I was like, really?
You triggered them.
But I was like, but that makes me like, oh my God, like the fact that I can impact y'all like that, like, I'm a safe space if you need me to be, and you could always reach out to me. And like, granted, I'm like a licensed therapist, but like, I'll be here for you as much as I can, and like, just know that we're both safe spaces, and know that if you're going through it, it's not because you're less of a person, but it's more so about the other person being a shitty ass person.
Yeah.
But yeah, my name is Dean.
And I'm Emily.
And we love you. And thanks for listening to this long episode. I'm so blind, I can't even see the timer. And Emily's like, this has been a long episode. But
it's good though, but it's important we talk about these things, because life is lighthearted, life is serious, and that's a duality of it. Is you can have both, and it's important to have both.
Yeah, period. It is. Okay.
All right.
Talk to y'all next week.
Bye guys.
Love you.
Stay safe.
Bye.
Bye.